got Syracuse, we got Adirondack, we got
well,
Utica,
Adirondack,
Binghamton.
Binghamton, but Syracuse, Rochester versus Syracuse.
I like Binghamton as a rivalry.
I think that Binghamton and Syracuse have a thing like we have there, but I'll
tell
you.
They do, yeah, Binghamton and Syracuse.
I'll tell you, I think the best rivalry is Rochester-Buffalo, and that's why I love the Bandits Knighthawks games.
John,
best.
Speaking of Rochester Buffalo, are great sponsors over at the Rochester Razor Sharks, the best professional basketball you will see in Western New York. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Actually, it's the best professional basketball outside of New York Knicks and the Westchester Knicks.
What about the Brooklyn Nets?
All right, Brooklyn. All right, so New York State, it goes like this: New York Knicks. Well, no, never mind. They're pretty bad this year.
I was gonna say I don't know.
Okay. Brooklyn Nets, then New York Knicks, then the Westchester Knicks, then the Rochester Razor Sharks.
I think I'd put the Razor Sharks above the Westchester Knicks.
No. And NBA D League, the Westchester Knicks are D League. The Razor Sharks are PBL.
Remember what they said?
I know Dr. Sev said they do pay the players more. I
think the league. I did take a little look at both leagues, and I think that the competition might be on par.
Well, here's the thing: is the D League. If you look at where the players came from, you're going to see more D1 schools.
Well, the
Razor Sharks only have
D1.
No. There's a couple of. We don't have the roster printed out. You have to pull it up, but there's a couple of D3. I think there's a couple D3 schools. There are a lot of D1s, but they're not all D1s. Anyways, Sunday, John, the Blue Cross Arena, the Rochester Razor Sharks take on the arch rival Buffalo 7-1-6ers at 1 p.m. at the Blue Cross Arena. Come out. Tickets are only $5. Listen, I love the Knighthawks. Their tickets are $35 this year, okay? Now, I'm not saying... Listen, we want everyone to pack the house, but if you want some really affordable, great entertainment, great sports entertainment, $5 to go to a Razor Sharks game, John. You can't beat it.
No, you can beat it with a stick. I'm looking at the roster for this year, and you have Drexel, Chattanooga, St. John's, Westchester,
St. John's,
Cardinal Stritch.
See, Westchester's not D1.
Yes, they are.
No. That's Westchester College. Marist is D1, yes.
Lincoln, Rutgers, Central Missouri, Robert Morris, and Gloucester.
Those are all D1. Okay. Gloucester's not D1. Gloucester's D3.
They're D3?
Yeah. Gloucester and Westchester are D3. Westchester might be D2. But yeah, everyone else is D1.
And then if you look at their one from before, you have Chattanooga, Virginia, Bradley, Warner, Siena, Richmond, West Virginia.
I think Warner may not be, but the rest, yes. John, speaking of the Razor Sharks, we're recording this on Tuesday. Last night they were home against the Lynchburg Titans. They set some team records for defense. The Razor Sharks.
They're D2.
The Razor Sharks held the Lynchburg Titans to 9 points in the first quarter last night.
Ooh.
9 points, setting a team record for defense, and 25 points overall in the first half. And they beat them by 49 points. So the Razor Sharks improved to 4-0. They're looking like they might run the table this year, as usual. I mean, they are.
I want to see NBA D-League team do that.
Well, that's the thing. If we do go D-League, if the Razor Sharks do go D-League, they're not going to be running the table anymore because it's a much more even league. The PBL is a little one-sided sometimes towards Rochester.
Oh, I mean, there's always
not that it's a bad thing necessarily. I mean, it's good to see a winner.
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about the SPL, the Scottish Premier League, with Celtic and Rangers, and maybe the PBL is kind of like that.
Oh, I don't know much.
There's a lot of good teams.
I don't know much about that. You were actually telling me yesterday that you thought the MASL was kind of like that because of Baltimore and Milwaukee just completely destroying the rest of the league.
There's some comparisons. The SPL, the Scottish Premier League, is the Premier League in Scotland. It's good teams. I mean, world caliber teams, but only 2 teams ever, except for Hearts. So 2 teams have won it, except Hearts has won it once or twice. And this is going all the way back.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, I don't know much about that. We'll have to do a Scottish Premier League show once. But, John, why don't we talk about this some MASL news, all right?
Uh-oh.
So there, Hidalgo La Fiera. All right, they announced that they were withdrawing from the league, and the MASL accepted them withdrawing from the league. And it sucks for the league. It doesn't look good at all. But it's not the most bizarre part of the story. The stranger part of the story is that the day before, they hosted the Dallas Sidekicks. Now, normally, they play at, I believe their arena is called the State Farm Arena, okay, in Hidalgo, Texas. For some reason, they couldn't get their arena, and at the last minute, they told Dallas, hey, we're moving this game to our practice facility. So they moved the game to the practice facility. Hidalgo beat Dallas 4-3. There were 2 red cards given to Dallas. Okay. The next day, Hidalgo announces they're folding, and at the same time, the Dallas Sidekicks sent in a protest to the MASL saying that the goals were not regulation size at Hidalgo, and thus they should vacate the results of the game. The MASL upheld the protest, and they said that, yeah, you guys measured the goals, and they're not regulation size. Thus, this game doesn't count, and all stats are vacated, including the red cards. So their 2 players did not get suspended. Strange stuff.
All right. Well, this kind of reminds me of that first game against Detroit with the
with the referees not knowing the rules.
Yeah, with that big, really long
like 25-minute delay as they called the commissioner. And I wonder what was Kevin Milliken doing. He was probably eating dinner or something, and he kept getting missed calls from the referees.
He was probably relaxing or even sleeping. It was late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that doesn't look good for any league.
These kind of things do not look good for the league.
They just don't look good for any league.
With a team now dropping out. And we talked about earlier, a couple of shows ago, how one of the teams, Rancho Seco Saltillo in Mexico, they play outside. And I was flabbergasted at this fact. Now, I learned that they're not the only team, John, that plays outside. Did you know this?
Who else plays outside? I did not.
Barracudas FC of Brownsville, Texas, also play outside. And not only this, it's the strangest thing ever. If you go to their website, look up Barracudas FC on Google. Everything is in Spanish. There's no English option, okay? I watched one of their games on YouTube. I watched the first couple minutes of it. Everything's in Spanish. They play outside on this terrible turf, okay? It looked way worse than Salem Stadium. 10 times worse, all right? And they have pyrotechnics coming out of the goals. Fireworks shooting out of the goals as they bring out the players. And everyone's yelling in Spanish. They're playing Mexican music. It's a very strange operation. But they're playing, the weird thing is this is in America. So the team is in Brownsville, Texas. But yet there's nothing in English on their website, nothing in English on their Twitter, nothing in English on their Facebook, nothing in English during their broadcast.
Yeah, I see. Membero de la Major Soccer League MASL.
What is it? La Mejor Arena Soccer League.
Gracias. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And this is in America. Boy, can you imagine if Rush Limbaugh or Michael Savage knew about this?
This is supposed to be the United States, and it's all in Spanish. Well, hablo that's probably what we'd hear. A lot of colorful, borderline hateful things. But it does make you wonder.
Strange. The more that we learn about this Major Arena Soccer League, the stranger it gets. It is. I also learned this, that Detroit, the Waza Flow, we had their owner, player, coach Dominic Cicluna on an earlier show.
That was a very interesting
interview after that big fight in Rochester, right? I learned that they had a road trip recently to it was a Friday night game in St. Louis and a Saturday night game in Chicago. So for some reason, they sent half of the team to St. Louis and then the other half to Chicago. I think to save on travel money.
Oh, man.
So they only played with 8 guys in St. Louis, And then the rest, those guys that did go to St. Louis then joined like the other 7 guys who went to Chicago.
How'd they do in St. Louis?
I think they lost both. I can go to bring up Detroit was a flow, but it just very strange.
Oh, and not only that, but I looked up the Westchester Knicks roster, and
Yes.
Actually, there are more Division I players on the Razor Sharks.
Really?
There are 3 non-D1 players on the Knicks, and there's only 1 non-D1 player, and there's more players on the Razor Sharks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Dr. Sev was right. This is very interesting to me.
I think he...
the PBL it's pretty good ball. It'd be interesting to see the Razor Sharks as they are now take on a D League team.
It would. That would be something I'd want to see.
I would definitely want to see that.
I'm shocked that we should have talked to Dr. Sev. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
I don't know. I don't think the D League teams would want to play extra games.
Well, I don't think
It'd
any
be very
team would
interesting,
want to play extra games per se, but it'd be interesting to see, and I'm sure it could get worked out. All right, let's go to the What's a Flow. Instead of the What's a Flow, it has to be What's a Flow.
Oh, because it's what, Japanese?
Yeah.
That we found. We thought it was Rasta originally. It turns out to be Japanese. Yeah, go to their results. See how they did in that St. Louis game. John, but while you're bringing up that, one of our listeners sent me something very interesting. Top 100 soccer teams, outdoor soccer teams in the United States and Canada. Okay, and this is from a website called thebrotherlygame.com, and it's a blog site. They rank the top 100 professional and amateur teams in America. Guess where the Rhinos are ranked currently out of the top teams?
26.
41st.
Oh. Bottom of the table.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of... Obviously, all the MASL teams are ahead of Rochester. Orlando City, which is now MLS, is ahead of us. Richmond, Sacramento, Charleston.
They'd put Sacramento, a team that's only been in the league for a year.
Sacramento, they just won the championship, John.
But we've been in the league since 96.
This is not like a ranking of like who their favorite teams is. This is literally a ranking of talent.
Oh, it's a ranking of talent.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was ranking
this is a ranking of talent. Because like in other countries that have a more established tree,
a more hierarchy.
You can more easily kind of say you can rank the best teams. So that's what they're trying to do here. So Orlando City came in 14th, and I believe that's because they're going MLS.
Oh, it's because of the whole Cinderella story too.
No, well, I mean they were. Because you got to put Sacramento did win the championship. You got to put them ahead of Orlando City as far as the USL team from this season. But Orlando City is jumping to MLS now, and they signed Kaká
from Brazil.
So I think with that boosts them up. Richmond, I don't know how much ahead of the Rhinos. Really? Charleston, really? LA Galaxy 2?
I really don't think much.
Yeah,
I looked at that. I don't think much was really put into it.
LA Galaxy 2, yeah. Okay. Harrisburg ahead of the Rhinos?
I don't think much.
Charlotte? Wilmington?
I don't think much thought was put into this list.
Montreal Impact Reserves?
I don't think much thought was put into this list. I really don't.
I don't know.
I really don't.
They have some sort of like computer system where they rank it. It's trying to be like college football, I believe.
Yeah.
The Chicago Fire Reserves ahead of Rochester, even though we beat them 2-0. I don't know about that. I don't know about these rankings. Brotherly love. Who are you? All right, well, that's the top 100 teams in America. Oh, another MASL thing, John?
What?
The Seattle Impact, who are having some off-field difficulties that I don't want to go into. But if people who know the MASLs have probably read about them. They drew 96 fans to their game on December 18th.
Ow. Dang.
96. They announced the crowd at 365, I believe.
Well.
But someone who was at the game counted the crowd, and they said there were 96 people there.
How are they sure there were people in the bathrooms or eating food or left early?
No, I don't know. I saw a picture.